Hi, my name is Akash, and today we're going to be talking about agency contracts and what you should know before signing on the dotted line. Now, agents are an essential part of the entertainment industry. They're the ones that focus on making sure that your best interests are represented in any deal that you undertake or any production that you join on for, and they're the ones that are promoting your career and making sure you have work opportunities while you focus on creating your art. However, when you're engaging an agent, it's important to analyze the agreement from two aspects. First, the commission, which is how they're getting paid, and second, the services that they will provide with you. Let's start by taking a look at the commission and some key factors to look at. Now, the commission can be calculated in two ways, as a percentage of your income or as a flat fee for services rendered. Now, the most common method is through a percentage, but here you have to pay attention to a few things, whether the percentage is being cut pre or post-tax, because you have to understand that given the amount of tax you will be liable for, the percentage can result in a wildly different real amount of payment when it's calculated pre or post-tax. So you could end up with a much smaller percentage being applied pre-tax, resulting in a much greater liability than a larger post-tax percentage. You also have to pay attention to qualifying income. Now, what this means is the income that is subject to the commission. Now, this can be in any number of ways. It can be either a overall percentage of income. Any income that you get is going to be subject to the commission. It can be a industry-based percentage. Any income within the specific industry of the representation is covered. For example, a musical artist will be subject to a percentage for all of their music-based income, but if they take up sculpture, that will be exempt. It can also be limited to the actions of the agent, which is to say they only get a percentage of those deals that they actively create. Now, depending on what the qualifying income is and whether it's calculated pre or post-tax, an appropriate tax level can vary wildly. It can range from single digits to, in percentages in the 20s or 30s. Now, as for flat fee arrangements, these are fairly uncommon in the industry, and they come in two categories. The first is periodic, where representation over a certain period of time will be subject to a lump sum flat fee, let's say a monthly fee or a quarterly fee, and others are service-based fees, which is to say certain services that are provided will be subject to a itemized bill, which is to say if you are negotiating a deal, then the amount of time spent negotiating will be a flat fee service. If you are being promoted, that promotional activity will be subject to a flat fee, and so on. Now that we've discussed the commission and how your agent is going to be paid, let's turn to look at the services that they're going to provide you and how that changes what an acceptable commission would be. The services that your agent provides can come in a number of different forms, and it is very important when going through the contract to understand essentially what you're paying for. Now, when it comes to representation, one thing that you have to keep in mind, are they talking about passive representation or active representation? Active representation refers to them going out and getting you work, getting you contracts, getting you opportunities to promote your career, whereas passive representation refers to simply looking over deals as they come through, putting your name onto certain forums, and generally waiting for a deal to come before intervening. Now, as you can guess, one is much more valuable than the other. Similarly, you have to look into what industries your agent is going to represent and what industries they're not going to represent. Now, it may be common sense that if you are an actor and a singer, you're going to have agents that are experienced in the music world and agents that are experienced in the acting world, and so you would have two agents. But even in a field that seems as homogeneous as literature, you can end up with different agents for different genres. So if you're someone that writes horror and occasionally literary fiction, it isn't uncommon to have a literary agent as well as a horror agent. If you write adult fiction but occasionally dabble in young adult fiction, those will often require separate agents as well. If you have multiple publishers with different series or different bodies of work, you could often end up with different agents. So you need to understand the limitations on your agent's representation. There are other limitations that can apply as well. There are geographic limitations. Are they going to operate for all of your works everywhere? Are they only going to work in the Western market, only going to work in the American market, only going to work in the greater New York area? These are different types of representation that will result in different types of appropriate compensation. One more thing to consider are additional services. These are services that aren't covered by the commission that your agent may be undertaking or that may be routine to your industry, but that would result in additional fees and charges. That's another thing to keep in mind when going through these contracts. See, when you're entering into an agency relationship, there are two things to keep in mind. The commission, how much you're going to be paying and in what way that's going to be calculated, and the services that they provide, what is included in their representation and what is not. Going in, understanding what you're getting and how much you'll be paying for it is the key basis for this transaction. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please feel free to give us a like, give us a comment with any thoughts that you have on the subject matter, and subscribe to see more content coming soon. Thanks.